Every town has its legends, its whispered tales that weave through generations like threads of an old tapestry. In my hometown, Willow Creek, it wasn't the boogeyman or the headless horseman that haunted our childhood nightmares. It was a far more chilling figure, one tied to the very asphalt of the old county road that snaked out of town. This is the story of the woman in white and the night she left her mark on my life. Literally. My grandmother, bless her soul, was the primary storyteller of this particular legend. Her voice, raspy with age and wisdom, would lower to a conspiratorial whisper as she recounted the tale, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and conviction. She swore it was true, that the woman in white was a lost soul, forever searching for her child, her mournful cries echoing through the lonely night. If you're intrigued by tales of the supernatural and unexplained, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. It helps us bring more chilling stories like this one to light. The old road, officially County Road 7, was a shortcut for many, cutting through dense forest and bypassing the newer, more populated highway. During the day, it was just a stretch of forgotten asphalt, narrow and winding, with patches of wildflowers pushing through the cracks. But at night, under the cloak of darkness, it transformed. The trees seemed to lean in closer. The shadows deepened, and every rustle of leaves sounded like a whisper. The story goes that the woman in white was a young mother, traveling with her infant son decades ago, when their carriage overturned on that very road during a storm. Her son was swept away by flash floods in the creek beside the road, and she perished trying to find him. Her spirit, forever bound to the place of her greatest sorrow, still wandered. A spectral figure draped in white, weeping and calling out for her lost child. It was a tale designed to keep us kids off that road after dark. As I grew older, like most teenagers, I dismissed these stories as quaint folklore, remnants of a simpler, more superstitious time. The woman in white became a campfire tale, a local quirk, nothing more than a narrative device for childhood scares. I drove that road countless times during the day, never once feeling a chill, convinced it was all just an elaborate figment of my grandmother's vivid imagination. Life has a funny way of challenging your skepticism. After college, I landed a job at a distribution center on the outskirts of the next town over. The hours were long, and often my shift wouldn't end until past midnight. This meant my drive home, especially the last leg, would always be in the dead of night, on that very same old county road. Necessity, it seemed, was about to become the mother of my fear. There were other routes, longer ones, but the old road shaved a good 15 minutes off my commute. After a grueling 10-hour shift, those 15 minutes felt like an eternity I couldn't afford to lose. So, night after night, I found myself turning onto County Road 7, the familiar darkness swallowing my headlights as I ventured deeper into the woods. Each time, a tiny, almost imperceptible shiver would run down my spine. Some nights were worse than others. On moonless nights, the darkness was absolute, thick enough to taste. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the hum of my engine and the occasional distant hoot of an owl. I'd sometimes catch myself glancing into the rearview mirror, half expecting to see something, anything, reflected in the glass. Of course, there was never anything there, or so I thought. One particularly late night, after an especially exhausting shift, I was driving home, battling the heavy eyelids and the growing silence of the road. A thick fog had rolled in, clinging to the trees and swirling across the asphalt, reducing visibility to mere yards. It was the kind of night where the world felt smaller, more isolated, and the imagination ran wild with every creak and groan of the old car. Then, through the swirling mist, I saw it, a figure standing motionless on the shoulder of the road, just beyond the reach of my headlights. She was tall, slender, draped in something pale that seemed to shimmer in the faint light. My heart leaped into my throat. It was too late to swerve, too late to stop. I gripped the wheel, my eyes fixed on the apparition as my car passed by. My mind raced, trying to rationalize what I had just seen. A trick of the light, a lost hiker. But the way she stood, so still, so unnaturally pale, sent a cold dread through me. I instinctively glanced into my rear-view mirror, expecting to see her form receding into the fog, perhaps walking away. But there was nothing. The road behind me was empty, swallowed by the thick, impenetrable mist. She was gone. A wave of primal fear washed over me. My hands, still clenched on the steering wheel, started to tremble uncontrollably. My breath hitched in my chest, and my heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I kept checking the mirrors, then the road ahead, convinced she would reappear, perhaps in the passenger seat beside me. Every shadow seemed to shift, every sound intensified. I sped up, desperate to get away from that road, from that chilling encounter. It wasn't until I pulled into my driveway, the familiar glow of my porch light, a welcome beacon, that I dared to breathe. As I turned off the ignition, a sudden chill filled the car, a distinct drop in temperature that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. Then I saw it, on the back window, amidst the condensation and a thin layer of grime, were two distinct handprints. They weren't just smudges. They were perfectly formed, 5-fingered impressions, as if someone had pressed their palms firmly against the glass. They were too high to be a child's, too large to be a woman's of average height, reaching up naturally. The horrifying realization hit me like a physical blow. She had been there. She had been on my car. Her hands, perhaps trying to reach in, or perhaps just to stop me, had left their ghostly signature. I didn't try to wipe them off. I didn't even touch them. I stumbled out of the car, heart pounding, and practically ran into my house, locking the door behind me. I spent the rest of the night huddled under my covers. The image of those handprints burned into my mind. The next morning, they were still there, stark against the dew-covered glass, a chilling reminder of the night's terror. For weeks, I felt a cold spot in the back of my car, a lingering chill that no amount of heating or sunlight could dispel. I avoided looking in the rearview mirror for a long time, terrified of what I might see reflected there. The handprints eventually faded with rain and car washes, but the memory, the terrifying certainty of what they represented, never did. I never took County Road 7 again. Not at night, not during the day, not ever. The extra 15 minutes on the highway felt like a small price to pay for peace of mind. Every time I pass the turnoff, a shiver still runs down my spine, and I can almost hear the faint, mournful cries carried on the wind. Some legends, it turns out, are more than just stories. They are warnings. I still wonder what she wanted that night. Was she asking for help? Was she trying to get into my car? Or was she simply trying to make herself known, to remind us that her tragedy, her search, continues? Have you ever had an encounter that made you question everything you thought you knew about the world? Share your own chilling experiences or thoughts on this story in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.